Meng Chuyuan is widely recognized as an abandoned woman in the wealthy family circle. Her husband is away from home all year round, and each of her uncles and mother-in-law has a bad temper. Others laughed at her for living an unsightly life. Only Meng Chuyuan knew how comfortable she was. There is endless money to spend, and there is no need to have children. Just one day, as a top black and red girl, her uncle took her to the countryside slow variety show. Before the start of the variety show, Meng Chuyuan, who served as the control group, firmly held the top spot on the blacklist due to her unfortunate marriage and cold sister-in-law relationship. After the variety show started broadcasting, Meng Chuyuan's divine beauty directly overshadowed the black hot search. The focus of netizens is starting to distort their art style. Abandoned wife of a wealthy family. With this 40-carat diamond ring, I also want to go buy it. Uncle and sister-in-law are at odds. Help, the two of them are so well behaved that they have a perfect understanding of each other. They are just siblings, right? A dispute between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. On family day, Grandma Meng Chuyuan's starry eyes are almost becoming her old fan sister. Unfortunate marriage. Her man's possessiveness is almost overflowing the screen. This is fake CP. I live stream eating durian peel. Keywords of the novel. Abandoned women from a wealthy family who won the control group by lying down without a pop-up window. Abandoned women from a wealthy family who won the control group by lying down without a pop-up window. Abandoned women from a wealthy family who won the control group by lying down without a pop-up window. Abandoned women from a wealthy family who won the control group by lying down without a pop-up window. Abandoned women from a wealthy family who won the control. Chapter 1. Postmarital life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Postmarital life. The autumn sun is warm and gentle, with a hint of refreshing breeze. A beam of light shone in from the window, directly onto the ground. The curtain swayed gently in the wind, and the green plants outside trembled with it. In the chess and card room, a group of noblewomen were playing mahjong. From playing cards to playing cards, the sound of mahjong was crisp and pleasant to the ear. The woman sitting in the northern position is wearing a custom-made black long dress, with thick curled hair and pearl earrings. The swan necklace around her neck is not only exquisite, but also highlights the beauty of her collarbone. Women have fair skin and a gentle appearance, appearing bright and charming against the backdrop of makeup. She wore a large diamond ring on her slender fingers, which was dazzling and couldn't be ignored. Since the beginning of mahjong, card players have been using her identity to talk about things and have had hundreds of conversations. Until the woman played a few cards in a row, I have to take it seriously, so I don't believe I can still lose. Glancing at the young woman at home, he said without hesitation, Mrs. Liu, we won't let you down. The exquisitely dressed and lucky woman is called Meng Chuyuan. She is 23 years old and is the wife of Liu Qingye, also known as Mrs. Liu in their mouths. Meng Chuyuan had just finished playing cards and saw that it was not what he wanted, so he directly played the cards. She lifted her eyes and gave a light smile, speaking frankly, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, just have fun. Mrs. Liu has a really good mindset. The card player sitting opposite her spoke sourly, I don't think Mrs. Liu has a good mentality, it's because her husband is wealthy and often doesn't stay at home, right? This may sound like a joke, but the tone is full of sarcasm. She's not stupid, so she naturally knows there's something in her words. Meng Chuyuan didn't show any displeasure on his face and responded with a smile, it's still Fong Tai who understands me too well. Mrs. Fong's eyes flickered, and her facial expression was somewhat rich. She raised her eyes and squinted at the other two, looking towards Meng Chuyuan one after another, as if she had caught a loophole. This man can't do without being at home. Mrs. Liu, be careful. Don't let women outside hook up on such a good husband. Mr. Liu is handsome and wealthy. At first glance, he is a man and woman type. Who can resist this? Yes, Mrs. Liu, women nowadays have tricks on their hands. You need to keep an eye on your family. Meng Chuyuan's parents died at a young age, and she grew up with her grandmother. After her grandmother passed away, she left her hometown and came to Weiqing. At the most embarrassing time, she met Lu Qingye by chance. Just half a month ago, she and Lu Qingye obtained the certificate. Everyone was polite to her openly, but in their hearts, it was somewhat unpleasant. After all, in the eyes of outsiders like them, what ability does a woman with no family background have to make Lu Qing willingly marry her with ambition? In fact, she and Lu Qingye had a private agreement to get married, and they had no emotional foundation. To put it simply, they were each taking what they needed. During the marriage period, she casually swiped Lu Qingye's card, without the need for her to have children for the Lu family or fulfill her marital obligations. After the two divorced, she could still divide half of Lu Qingye's property. And all she needs to do is crown herself as the landing lady, occasionally accompany Lu Qingye to attend some necessary social occasions, and brush off her presence. Why not do such good things fall on her? Even though this marriage may seem nominal, with Lu Qingye's qualifications, both in terms of surface skills and material possessions, it satisfies Meng Chuyuan's needs. Her wealthy life is unparalleled by others. So Meng Chuyuan didn't care about this matter at all, and was not influenced by their words. He even said openly, but who can refuse a husband who has the money to go out? In the afternoon, the bright sunshine poured down on the earth, and the outdoor temperature slightly increased. In the office building the man whistled lightly and sat cross-legged on the sofa, playing games. The agent suddenly walked in and saw such a frustrating scene. He angrily walked up to him and said, "Lu Jinsen. When has it been? Do you still have the heart to play games? The variety show is about to start broadcasting in 2 days. Have you contacted your big brother yet? Has this program been recorded yet?" At this moment, Lu Jinsen was busy forming a team and didn't pay attention to her. Seeing him completely ignoring, the agent became angry and reached out to grab his phone, saying, "Stop playing, I'm asking you something." Lu Jinsen looked up at her and said irritably, "What are you doing?" "I'm in a group." After the agent turned off his phone, he threw it on the coffee table and watched as the screen went out. Lu Jinsen turned his head and wrote his dissatisfaction on his face. "What's up with me?" Lu Jinsen's tone was mixed with a hint of impatience. "Did you contact your older brother for the variety show 2 days later? The production team needs to compare the process with you." "No, it's not recorded anymore. The contracts have all been signed. You said, if you don't record it, then don't record it." The agent's face changed greatly in anger and he put down his harsh words, "If you don't record it, it's okay. You can compensate for the breach of contract." Upon hearing that he was going to lose money, Lu Jinsen suddenly looked up and a hint of panic flashed in his eyes. Some time ago, the program team invited Lu Jinsen to participate in a family-friendly variety show and asked him to bring a brother or sisters to participate together. He originally planned to participate with Lu Qingye, but unexpectedly, the variety show recording was approaching and Lu Qingye was still on a business trip abroad. After some thought, Lu Jinsen also calmed down a lot and his attitude gradually eased. "My elder brother has not returned from his business trip yet, so he cannot record it." The broker was silent for a while and said, "Do you have any other brothers and sisters?" "A younger sister is still at school and doesn't have time to record programs." He thought to himself that he would definitely finish this time. Just as Lu Jinsen was thinking about how to ask his family for money in order to pay the penalty to the production team, his agent's mind suddenly turned and he said, "Since your older brother is not available, does sister.in.law have one?" Lu Jinsen frowned and looked at her in confusion. "What does it have to do with her? Let your sister.in.law go up." "I refuse," Lu Jinsen said without even thinking. "Refusal is invalid. Unless you want to pay a high penalty for breach of contract." The agent's words made Lu Jinsen obediently shut up. She bent down and picked up the phone from the coffee table, handed it to him, and urged, "Hurry up, call your sister. In.law." His gaze was fixed on his phone and he didn't reach out to pick it up for a long time. He was not familiar with Meng Chuyuan and couldn't even pull his face off. Perhaps he hesitated for too long, and the agent couldn't bear to watch anymore. Suddenly, his phone stood up and landed on Jin Sen's face, unlocking it and calling Meng Chuyuan on his behalf. After the phone was connected, the agent gave Meng Chuyuan a brief explanation of the situation and hoped that she could save the situation and participate in the program with Lu Jinsen. "Sure, no problem." Meng Chuyuan just embarrassed the three ladies at the mahjong table and probably won't come looking for her to play cards again for a long time. Anyway, he agreed when he was idle. "Baby, I'm back again. New book reading guide / self-clearing. This is an easy-going Su Shuang Women Strong article, mainly focusing on siblings. The male lead's role in the early stage is not limited, and the later stage is the main stage of love. It's hard to keep up with everyone's opinions. If you don't like it, don't criticize or criticize. Let's get along peacefully, right?" End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Invited to participate in variety shows. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Invited to participate in variety shows. Since the ratings of Brothers and Sisters Advance and Retreat Together last season were good, it soon ushered in the second season. This is a rural variety show, which will be conducted live throughout the process. The program team does not provide living expenses, and guests need to exchange labor and ingredients to complete their trip to the countryside. There are 3 groups of guests participating in the program recording. In addition to Lu Jinsen and Meng Chuyuan, there are also the national goddess Liao Jiaka and her twin sister Liao Jiayan, the newly popular young student Qi Shen and his sister Qi Yan. The day before filming began, the production team announced the guest list on Weibo, including the unconventional uncle and sister.in.law duo of Lu Jinsen and Meng Chuyuan. Later, a marketing account revealed that a young woman surnamed M was abandoned by a wealthy husband on her wedding night, sparking a heated discussion online. Good guy. Uncle and sister.in.law combination, not taking ordinary paths. 666, I didn't read it wrong, did I? Uncle sister.in.law combination. Their group is too perfunctory. Isn't it a program for brothers and sisters to advance and retreat together? Can I take my sister.in.law to participate? Isn't there a big brother in Lu Jinsen? A while ago, there was also rumors that the big brother was participating. How did he change people now? Is the threshold for variety shows so low now? Please invite anyone. I have a bold guess. Could the woman surnamed M be Lu Jinsen's sister.in.law? Abandoned wife from a wealthy family, I think it's probably her. Shouldn't we go on a honeymoon trip with our newlywed husband? But she's on a variety show with her younger uncle, so you can savor her. The next morning, the guests got up and prepared to go to the recording location, but other guests including Lu Jinsen arrived, except for Meng Chuyuan. The director asked, "Lu Jinsen, where is your sister.in.law?" Lu Jinsen replied coldly, "I don't know." That day, the agent called Meng Chuyuan and turned on hands.free. At that time, Lu Jinsen was present, and it was quite surprising to hear her agree. The program process was coordinated between his agent and Meng Chuyuan, while Lu Jinsen had no contact with her at all. At this moment, Meng Chuyuan cannot be seen. In fact, the most anxious person is Lu Jinsen, because the two are not familiar. It is also possible for him to be stood up. The director didn't want to delay the live broadcast time and was very anxious. "I don't know." "How could you not know? Give your sister.in.law a call and ask where she is." Under the director's gaze, Lu Jinsen reluctantly took out his phone. Just then, Meng Chuyuan appeared from behind them. "Sorry everyone, I'm late." Everyone glanced at Meng Chuyuan upon hearing the sound. She was dressed very fairy, as if she had walked out of a painting. For a moment, everyone's gaze fixed on her. including Lu Jinsen. Lu Jinsen stood in place, waiting for everyone to get on the bus. He regained his composure, frowned, hugged his arms, and his gaze fell on Meng Chuyuan as he watched her calmly pull the suitcase towards him. When Meng Chuyuan walked up to him, Lu Jinsen snorted coldly and sneered, "Can you have some sense of time?" "Why don't I have a sense of time?" Meng Chuyuan glanced at the watch on his wrist and said, "It's exactly 9 o'clock. Lu Jinsen sneered and said, "Do I still have to thank you?" Meng Chuyuan continued solemnly, "No need to thank you. He dare not even step on it, how dare this woman?" Originally, Lu Jinsen had planned to meet with other guests for the first time and leave a good impression, but now it's all over and Meng Chuyuan has been defeated. 1 hour later, the bus arrived at its destination. Live streaming is done on the way of a bus entering the village, using aerial photography mode as the driving scene. At the moment when the camera captured the opening of the car door, Liao Jiaka appeared first in the live broadcast room. She was wearing a white shirt and light blue denim pants, walking with a smile on her face, and the small dimples on both sides of her cheeks were beautiful and charming. Her sister Liao Jiayan was wearing a light purple coat with a white vest underneath, paired with a black skirt and sneakers, appearing both youthful and energetic. She obediently followed her sister and appeared. Seeing two beautiful women appearing at the same time, the barrage in the live broadcast room kept scrolling incessantly. Finally, it's time for brothers and sisters to advance and retreat in the second season. My Coco goddess is so beautiful. If you remember correctly, this is Coco's first variety show after marriage. The show team has won thoroughly. Coco's state of being married is getting better and better, which is what marriage should be like in love. These twins look too similar. I can't even tell who is the older sister and who is the younger sister. The one wearing a white shirt is the older sister, who is as her name suggests. She is gentle and charming, and Jiayan's younger sister is also very beautiful. However, I prefer Coco more because her smile is really sweet. Among the 6 guests in this variety show, Liao Jiaka has the highest popularity. Liao Jiaka, who debuted as a child star, has never left the audience's sight. She has collaborated with countless top male stars and is a career model praised by everyone in the industry. What's even more admirable is that she announced her marriage during her career growth period. Liao Jiaka's husband is the well-known actor Su Zhi among netizens. He comes from a wealthy family and has assets exceeding 100 million yuan. The two of them developed a romantic relationship due to their roles. After their relationship was exposed, a large number of CP fans came to offer their blessings, making them enviable. After getting married, Liao Jiaka gradually faded out of the entertainment industry and focused on her family. She no longer took on new shows and even rarely appeared. I didn't expect to see her on the show of Mutual Advancement and Retreat this time. Thank you to the production team for inviting a beautiful woman to take care of my eyes. Thank you. +10086. Why haven't we seen Lu Jinsen and his sister? Law after broadcasting for so long, it's better not to appear. I don't want to see him. At this moment, Lu Jinsen and Meng Chuyuan were still in the car. The two of them didn't sit together before getting on the car, and there was a passage between them, so there was no communication along the way. After watching everyone get off the car, Lu Jinsen turned his head to look at Meng Chuyuan and found her with her eyes closed and Bluetooth earphones plugged into her ears. Lu Jinsen stood up, the tall shadow blocking half of the light for her. He lowered his eyes and spoke coldly, "Hey, I got off the car." Meng Chuyuan frowned and slowly opened his eyes, catching Lu Jinsen's gaze off guard. Before getting up, Meng Chuyuan looked up at him and kindly reminded him, "I advise you to have a good attitude towards me and hold on to your younger brother." Lu Jinsen sneered and said, "Don't take advantage of me. Are you sure you want to record a program with me with this attitude later?" Meng Chuyuan took off his Bluetooth earphones and slowly said, "Think carefully now. You are a highly regarded public figure. Anyway, I am a layman and won't play with your character design." She felt that Lu Jinsen still had some idle baggage on him, otherwise he wouldn't have waited for her even after everyone got off the car. Meng Chuyuan was the last one to appear, with her slender legs first appearing on camera. The camera went from bottom to top and finally captured her true face. She was wearing a white French retro long dress, perfectly fitting the size to accentuate her delicate figure. Her thick brown curly hair draped over her right shoulder, and she wore a black beret on her head. Her collarbone chain flickered faintly in the sunlight. The last group is out, sleeping slot. Is Lu Jinsen's sister in law so young? U1S1, Lu Jinsen's sister in law is very beautiful and has fallen in love with her. What's the use of looking good? It's just a vase, where does it look good? I don't know how much powder I put on my face, so it's fake white, saying that the pretty ones are blind. This woman is not as beautiful as my Coco. Don't compare a mediocre person to a celebrity, it's not even in the same class, is it? Meng Chuyuan is not sure about the situation in the live broadcast room, and she could never have imagined that with just her appearance, she would directly make it to the hot search. With the appearance of Meng Chuyuan, netizens have had a chain reaction, curious about what kind of man she married. The live broadcast is still in full swing. 3 groups of guests will draw blind boxes prepared by the program team, which will determine their next accommodation. In order to ensure that each group has the opportunity to choose, the production team has prepared 5 blind boxes. Everyone tacitly followed the order of getting off the car and drew in sequence. The first group sent Chi Yen to select a blind box. She chose the box closest to her and then opened it to take out the cards inside, carefully opening it to take a look. Qishan walked over from one side, standing shoulder to shoulder. Qishan reached out his arm and placed his hand above his sister's head to shade her from the sun. He lowered his head and gently asked, "Sister, what did we draw?" Chi Yen, who already knew the answer, generously unfolded the card for him to see. Qishan leaned over to look, his eyes lit up, and a faint smile appeared on his face. "Sister, you're so amazing." They drew a 2-bedroom, 1 living room flat roof house and were very satisfied with it. The 2 of them exchanged a glance and, in agreement, raised their hands and slapped each other. Detective Chi is warm-hearted and meticulous, and even blocks the sun for his sister. I also want a brother who is so considerate. Do younger brothers still lack older sisters? After watching Chi Shin's performance, I turned around and slapped my younger brother behind me. They were all younger brothers, and the difference was too big. Sure enough, he is someone else's younger brother. I really liked the atmosphere in this group. The siblings have a good relationship and get along very well. The second group was selected by Liao Jiaka, and she chose the second box and drew the only quadrangle courtyard in the village. Liao Jiaka's luck has always been good, and most of the celebrities she has worked with have become famous, including her husband Suzy. It was also because of their love story that they established a reputation and became a top-tier star, even winning the Best Actor award. Previously, when interviewed by Suzy, it was said that Liao Jia was his lucky goddess, and without Liao Jia, there would be no Suzy today. As expected, she quickly drew onto the luxurious courtyard, which attracted envious gazes from other guests. Help! I always thought that the lucky goddess was a character set up by the team for Liao Jiaka. I didn't believe it before, but now I do. Sister, what will I buy in the next round of the lottery? The goddess of luck is well deserved. Perhaps the only unlucky thing for this sister is recording a program with Lu Jinsen's team, right? Lucky goddess favors me, please, Coco Bao, I won't fail the exam. Finally, the pressure was given to the third group, and Lu Jinsen took the initiative to draw and directly selected the first one to check the card information. What the hell? I got a network card. Why is the live broadcast screen not moving? I seem to be stuck here too. What did Lu Jinsen draw? Can any kind-hearted person know about it in the comment section? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Becoming a variety control group. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Becoming a Variety Control Group. The scene in the live broadcast room remained at the moment when Lu Jinsen opened the card, and in the eyes of the audience, only the comment section could operate normally. Until Meng Chuyuan walked into the live broadcast room and confirmed that it was a non-static scene just now. It has to be said that the production team is really good at causing trouble. Watching fans in the live broadcast room doubt the network card and go crazy, the camera didn't give the card a frontal close-up for a long time. Meng Chuyuan saw that there was no movement at Lu Jinsen's station, so he had to walk over to the same frame as him, hang his eyes, and his gaze fell on the card in his hand. He said calmly, "Well done." Her words made the live broadcast room boil again, and everyone was curious about what Lu Jinsen had drawn. "Announce the results to me quickly." "Well done." "What does that mean? Is it the one I thought? I have a bad feeling, I'm really anxious, what exactly did I draw?" The production team is really good at causing trouble and deliberately doesn't show it to us with the roast of the fans in the live broadcast room. The picture finally captured the card content in Lu Jinsen's hands, and gave several seconds of close-up shots. Adobe house. From the photo, the house looks both dilapidated and old. Lu Jinsen was rarely so calm. He looked up and gave Meng Chuyuan a complex glance, trying to regain his dignity in front of the camera. "Probability is a problem." But Meng Chuyuan said without mercy. "Bad luck means bad luck. What's the probability?" Seeing Lu Jinsen's speechless expression, the audience in the live broadcast room mercilessly mocked him. "Adobe house, ha ha ha, I am very satisfied with this result," laughing to death. Lu Jinsen is making excuses for himself again. "Ha ha ha ha, Lu Jinsen, you're still pretending, sister. In.Law can't bear to watch anymore, this sister.in.law is so cool, I love her so much, sister-in-law is so innocent, she didn't do anything and was forced to live in a Adobe house, sister-in-law is too unlucky." Following the unreliable suffering of Lu Jinsen, after selecting the house, each group is ready to depart for the destination. According to the program team's regulations, mobile phones need to be submitted. Before handing in their phones, guests can make a phone call to important people. Chi Sun and his team called their grandmother, while Liao Jiaka unexpectedly called her husband. Liao Jiaka's video call was answered in less than 3 seconds, and the handsome face of actor Su Ziyi appeared on the screen. At the moment of seeing Su Ziyi, Liao Jiaka's eyes curved into crescent moon, and the smile on his face deepened. She spoke softly, "Husband, are you busy?" Su Ziyi held up his phone and raised his hand, revealing his half-figure. He was dressed in costume, with a wig on his head, and said gently, "I'm putting on makeup. There's a scene to be filmed later." "Liao Jiaka. I'm recording a program." "I know." Su Ziyi smiled and adjusted the camera of his phone, flipping it towards the iPad on the table. "I was watching the live broadcast." Liao Jiaka was a bit surprised and said, "Ah. Are you watching the live broadcast?" "What?" Su Ziyi is also watching the live broadcast. Sleeping slot. Su Ziyi is actually watching a live broadcast. "I also want to call my sister, I'm about to develop a love brain, someone will wake me up, the sisters in front must not go to the top." "Your husband is not Su Ziyi." "Thank you for the reminder, let's go dig wild vegetables now." Originally, Lu Jinsen didn't want to participate in this segment, but when he saw the other two groups happily talking on the phone, he felt embarrassed and took his phone to call his mother. After the phone call, before Lu Jinsen could speak up, Lu's mother took the initiative and took the lead in gaining the say. "Stinky kid, don't come to me if you don't have money to spend, go find your dad." Lu Jinsen has long been accustomed to the lesson that Lu's mother came with her mouth open. He also knew that if he didn't speak at this moment, his mother would definitely hang up the phone, so he quickly said, "Mom, I'm recording a program because I have to turn in my phone later." "That's when I told you, I'm afraid you won't be able to contact me if you have something to worry about." After hearing his words, Lu Mu seemed somewhat surprised and couldn't help but smile, saying, "What can I do? Don't worry, I can't hit you if there's anything. You have no money or power, and it's useless." Lu Jinsen suddenly had nothing to say. Although these are all facts, there is no need to say them. What program was recorded, the deformed boy? He answered helplessly, "No, it's not." Sure enough, it's his biological mother who always wants to send him to transform. Lu Mu asked, "Which one is that?" Brothers and sisters advance and retreat together. "Oh, it's that one. But you're so useless, who wants to move forward and backward with you? It seems like the boss hasn't come back from his business trip yet, right? Ling Ling is lying to the teacher again saying he needs to take a leave due to a headache. I guess he's still asleep upstairs right now, and neither of them is here. So who are you going with?" The previous season's program was so popular that Lu Mu had heard of it. Even if she hadn't watched the program, she could roughly know what variety show it was. Lu Jinsen glanced at Meng Chuyuan and instinctively wanted to tell his mother her name. He found that they were recording a program, and in front of the camera, he naturally understood to restrain himself. He coughed lightly and said awkwardly, "With my sister.in.law. What sister.in.law? Who is it?" Lu Jinsen didn't hear his mother's last sentence clearly. He acted like a thief, afraid that others would notice his abnormality. He couldn't wait to hang up the phone and said, "Mom, I won't tell you anymore. I'm going to hang up." The other two groups were still talking to their families and even reluctant to hang up, while Meng Chuyuan dug out his phone from his bag and without hesitation handed it over to the staff of the program team. Before receiving her phone, the staff specifically reminded Meng Chuyuan, "Do you need to call your family?" Meng Chuyuan shook his head and then turned around to leave. "I'll knock." Is it so powerful and domineering for sister.in.law to hand in her phone? It's strange that I have to wait until the end of one episode to send out this phone. It's been so long since I can't use my phone, isn't she even calling my husband? Liao Jiaka and she are both married, why is the difference so big? I want to ask if she really got married, what's the situation? I seem to smell the scent of melons, isn't this all a peace of mind for my husband? This has just started broadcasting. Don't speculate, maybe they contacted us in advance. After Lu Jinsen handed in his phone, Meng Chuyuan took his luggage and went with him to search for the adobe house on the card. Under the guidance of the villagers, they quickly found their place to live. There is a half-meter high stone wall around the house, and you can clearly see the low and simple adobe houses. The soil is yellow, and the wasteland in the yard is covered with withered yellow weeds. The surrounding environment is actually not too bad, but it looks desolate and lacks any sense of life if people don't live here for too long. Lu Jinsen held the card in his hand and looked up at the adobe house in front of him, feeling a bit uncomfortable in his heart. He, who is used to living in a big villa, suddenly regretted why he signed this program. Thinking of this, Lu Jinsen's gaze involuntarily swept over Meng Chuyuan, unsure if she regretted agreeing to come and save the scene at this moment. However, Meng Chuyuan didn't think too much. He pushed open the creaking wooden door and looked back at Lu Jinsen. He tilted his head and gestured, "What are you staring at? Come in." Lu Jinsen. Stepping into the room, a musty smell swept over my face. The beams were covered in many spider webs, and the interior, exterior, and outer spaces were desolate. It's not an exaggeration to describe a family as having nothing to do. Meng Chuyuan took a rough look and came back to say to Lu Jinsen, "Let's borrow a broom from our nearby neighbors, and then bring back a bucket of clean water to wash. After all, they will live here in the next few days. They can't serve dim sum. At least they should make themselves comfortable." They happened to think of going together, so when Meng Chuyuan mentioned it, Lu Jinsen was very proactive and said, "I'll go borrow it." Not even a broom, this group is too miserable, isn't it? Help. Was it really Lu Jinsen himself just now? He even compromised with others at times. What's going on when Lu Jinsen instantly becomes an obedient little brother? I came for Jiaka and Jiayan, but I ended up liking Lu Jinsen's sister. Law a bit. What should I do? Is it the program effect? Is this house really habitable? Not to mention, this group has quite strong psychological qualities. End of this chapter. Is it difficult to find you without looking for her in chapter 4? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Is it difficult to find you without looking for her in chapter 4? At the same time, the other two groups of guests have already gone to their respective residences. Liao Jiaka and her sisters have successfully moved into the Sixio Hyuan. The head of the household saw them very warmly and invited them to have lunch together. The room has been cleaned for them in advance. The flat-roofed house of Chi Sun's team is also very good. There are many organic vegetables planted in the courtyard, and the lobby is spacious. The room is well ventilated and fully furnished. After watching the accommodation conditions of the other two groups, the audience in the live broadcast room started chatting enthusiastically again. Laughing to death, the other two groups just checked in with their bags and didn't have to worry about food and drink. Unlike Lu Jinsen and his group, they don't even have cleaning tools. As expected, without comparison, there is no harm, really, the difference is too big compared to others. How did Lu Jinsen, this big villain, manage to pick the worst out of the remaining 3 blind boxes? Big injustice has arrived. He came back with a broom and a bucket, not to mention the arm strength of De Yuanzhong is quite amazing, and he hasn't stopped resting all the way back with a bucket. The adobe house they lived in was actually not very close to their neighbors. In order to avoid traveling, Lu Jinsen could only come back with a broom and dustpan in one hand and a heavy bucket in the other. This round trip took about 10 minutes of tinkering. When Lu Jinsen went out to borrow something, Meng Chuyuan was not idle either. She tied up her long hair with a rubber band, rolled up her sleeves, and sorted out the usable furniture, placing it in a suitable position. When Lu Jinsen comes back, they will do another big cleaning together. Half an hour later, Liao Jiaka and his group had lunch with the head of the household. Chi Sun and his family borrowed some ingredients from the next door and came back to cook. Chi Shen carried the ingredients he had brought back into the kitchen and looked at Chi Yan beside him, saying, "Sister, there is a lot of cooking fumes in the kitchen. Let me handle the cooking." "It's okay, I'll do it," Chi Yan said as she rolled up her sleeves and prepared to work. "Then I'll give you a hand." "Okay." Although Chi Sun said he would help his sister, when it came time to cook, he was the one in charge, washing even the pots and vegetables. Chi Yan didn't know where to start if she wanted to help. After finishing lunch, Chi Yan tidied up the dishes and wanted to take them to wash, but Chi Detective was one step ahead of her. Chi Yan looked at him and said, "You made the rice just now, let me wash the bowl." Chi Shen looked up at her manicure and said gently and carefully, "This hand is so beautiful, how could you wash it?" Chi Shen is so handsome, I was instantly captivated by him. Momo, I'm tired of saying that I want the same style as my younger brother. At this moment, I actually want my soul to pierce through that bowl. Stop talking, I'm the dishwasher brush. Tonight, Dream Detective is washing dishes at my house. Meanwhile, Meng Chuyuan and the others are still busy at the moment, borrowing pots, bowls, ladles, and pots from neighbors, including dry firewood and lunch ingredients. Lu Jinsen consciously took over the physical labor of chopping firewood. This group is really miserable. The next door is already full and you haven't started cooking yet. Their adobe houses are really nothing to ask for, they are all donated by their neighbors next door. This group feels too slow and lacks any highlights. They have been cleaning up since entering the house. I'm a bit curious, can they both cook? I bet a penny that Lu Jinsen will never cook. My sister in law should be able to cook, right? She has good knife skills and is also very skilled at cutting vegetables. However, this chopping of firewood was not as simple as Lu Jinsen thought. The first time he swung the axe, it tilted and directly split into the air. Then he tried again. This time, the axe got stuck on the wood and struggled for a while before taking it out of the crack. Meng Chuyuan was beating eggs on the side, but when he turned around, he found that Lu Jinsen had not chopped a single stick. Unable to handle these few pieces of wood, Lu Jinsen is more anxious than anyone else, after all, who wants to embarrass themselves in front of others. He had planned to try again for a while and maybe he could find his feelings, but suddenly Meng Chuyuan said, "Use some force, didn't you eat?" Lu Jinsen was notorious for his violent temper in the industry. Upon hearing this, he retorted, "I just didn't eat, otherwise why would I chop this thing?" As he spoke, he swung his axe with resentment and chopped off a small piece of wood. Chopping firewood doesn't work. Do you know how to pick up branches? Have you seen the small forest in the backyard? You should be able to pick up many branches and come back. Lu Jinsen suddenly turned back and glanced at Meng Chuyuan, saying coldly, "Why didn't you say it earlier?" Causing him to stumble here for half a day and work aimlessly. You didn't say you couldn't chop firewood either. Haha, that's a good fight. I just like to see Lu Jinsen eat his food. It seems that no one asked him to chop firewood, right? He has to chop the firewood himself, and if he can't do it, he will blame his sister-in-law. Sister-in-law is so smart and beautiful. It would be great if she didn't work with Lu Jinsen. Just came over from Chi Sun's live broadcast room and saw Lu Jinsen, this useless person. He can't even chop firewood and can only drag his feet. I really want to scold him. Not to mention, Lu Jinsen is not even as good as Chi Sun's finger. Lu Jinsen put down his axe, turned around and walked out of the yard, heading towards the small forest behind him. Not long after, he returned carrying a pile of branches. He carried the picked-up branches into the kitchen and stood beside Meng Chuyuan for a while. With a feeling of confusion, he hesitated and said, "Do you need any help?" Meng Chuyuan turned around and glanced at him. "Can you make a fire?" Although she was surprised to hear him say this, she is not the kind of person to be polite. Lu Jinsen hesitated for a moment and spoke hesitantly, "Let me give it a try." "Okay, then give it a try." Knowing that he had never started a fire, Meng Chuyuan carefully guided him nearby, while Lu Jinsen was also very cooperative. She did whatever she asked her to do. With the high cooperation of the two, the fire on the stove was quickly ignited. Meng Chuyuan made 3 dishes, including stir-fried eggs with tomatoes, stir-fried lettuce, and stir-fried pork slices with green peppers. The ingredients they can borrow for lunch are very few and vegetarian, and the meat and eggs were provided to them by a kind old lady. Lu Zhai. When it was time for dinner, Mother Lu woke up her youngest daughter, Lu Qianling, to have a meal. Lu Qianling grew up holding a golden spoon from a young age, and the whole family doted on her. Over time, she developed a bad habit, such as skipping classes and relying solely on her mood when going to school. Seeing Lu Qianling playing with her phone all the time without even taking a few bites of food, Lu's mother glared at her and said discontentedly, "Don't play with your phone while eating." Got it, got it. However, Lu's mother's reminder was of no use, and Lu Qianling continued to play with her phone. Suddenly, "I'll go." Lu Qianling not only spoke excitedly, but also slapped the chopsticks she was holding onto the dining table. Her surprised appearance made Lu's mother very disdainful. "What are you doing all at once? Do you think your mother and I have been living too long? You're almost scaring me out of a heart attack." Lu Qianling grabbed her mother's arm and shook it back and forth, excitedly saying, "Mom, Mom. My second brother actually went to record a program." "Just recording a program, are you so excited?" "No, do you know who the person who went to record the program with second brother is?" Lu's mother spoke with half a doubt, "Mrs. He." "In the morning, I heard Lu Jinsen mention it, but she didn't ask clearly what was going on. Now, she only spoke out what she heard on the phone. Although Lu Mu doesn't know who Aunt He is." Lu Qianling opened the hot search she had just seen and handed her phone to her mother, saying, "Look. Is it her?" Lu Mu was surprised. Mrs. He. And her sister. Law. Surprisingly, that's what happened. Lu Jinsen usually loves her the most. She used to share everything with her, but she didn't know anything about him and Meng Chuyuan recording programs. Feeling betrayed by the person she trusted the most, Lu Qianling was very angry and said, "Why did second brother ask her to record a program?" Lu Mu looked up at her with a disdainful expression on her face. "Isn't it difficult to find you without looking for her?" End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Is really something. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 5 is really something. Lu Qianling was not convinced and said, "Aren't I stronger than her? My second brother and I are at least siblings, so recording this program would be the most suitable. She can't even compare to an outsider. This should not be laughed at when spoken out. Do you and your second brother have a total IQ of no more than 0, and it's okay to record programs together? The audience doesn't like to watch fools." Lu Qianling was said to be a bit embarrassed and angry. "Mom. Are you still my biological mother?" Meanwhile, Meng Chuyuan and Lu Jinsen, who had been busy all morning, finally had lunch. After all the dishes were served, Meng Chuyuan brought back 2 bowls of white rice, and gave the other bowl to Lu Jinsen. Meng Chuyuan. "Let's eat." When Meng Chuyuan moved his chopsticks, Lu Jinsen didn't make any movement and his gaze swept over the 3 dishes on the table, his eyes dimmed a bit. Lu Jinsen looked up and couldn't help but furrow his brows as he saw Meng Chuyuan eating crudely. Coincidentally, this scene was witnessed by Meng Chuyuan. "Why not eat it? Are you afraid I'll poison it?" Lu Jinsen didn't answer. He slowly picked up his chopsticks, picked up a piece of lettuce, and put it into his mouth. Lettuce is tender and refreshing, surprisingly not unpleasant at all. He watched the stir-fried dishes sell well, and he didn't know how skilled Meng Chuyuan was in cooking, so he didn't use his chopsticks for a long time. "I didn't expect that she not only knows how to cook, but also unexpectedly tastes good." Meng Chuyuan stared at him curiously and asked, "How is it?" Lu Jinsen remained calm and said coolly, "Make do." Although it's not a big fish or meat, Lu Jinsen believes that this is the most delicious meal he has ever had. Since his debut, Lu Jinsen has been controlling his diet, but this time he made an exception by eating an extra bowl of rice. "Damn it, what if you see me hungry?" Seeing that Lu Jinsen's chopsticks are still in his hand, he's almost finished picking up the dishes, but he still insists on making do with it. Although this group of meals is not as good as the other 2 groups, I think their dishes are very appetizing, and after just finishing my meal, I showed that I was hungry again. It feels like Lu Jinsen is an obedient little puppy in front of his sister. Law ha ha ha. I always feel like he's just pretending to be so well behaved. After finishing lunch, Meng Chuyuan entrusted the arduous task of washing dishes to Lu Jinsen. He did not refuse and silently washed the dishes in the kitchen. In the evening, the villagers invited 3 groups of guests to share dinner with them and specially prepared a performance for them to show their welcome. Liao Jiaka and his sister learned vocal music and dance, which can be said to be both singing and dancing. When they proposed a performance, the sisters gave the guests a sample. As an actor, singing and dancing are not his familiar field, so Qi Shen and his sister performed a cross-talk performance for everyone, which caused everyone present to burst into laughter. Sister Qi Zhen is such an excellent amateur, she can even perform cross-talk. She's so amazing. I want to watch Coco and Yan Yan's dance again. Male celebrities who don't know how to do cross-talk are not good actors. My brother Qi not only knows how to act but also speaks cross-talk. As a hazelnut, I am proud of him. Suddenly looking forward to what Lu Jinsen will perform. Let's just forget about Lu Jinsen. Personally, I'm looking forward to his sister. Law. After watching the show all day, I found out that she is really a treasure girl, and I really want to know what kind of surprise she will bring us. Ha ha ha, I'm also looking forward to my sister. In Law, it was Meng Chuyuan's turn to perform, and before leaving, she looked at Lu Jinsen beside her and said, "Brother, come and give me a hand." He really didn't expect that Meng Chuyuan would call him "drag brother" in front of everyone. Meng Chuyuan urged, "Hurry up." Finally, Lu Jinsen was reluctantly called onto the stage and acted as a performance tool for Meng Chuyuan. The little brothers and sisters in front danced for everyone, and then the cross-talk also said, "Then I'll perform a little magic trick." Meng Chuyuan borrowed a rope and ring from the villagers present, and then asked Lu Jinsen to hold the two ends of the rope and pull them in a straight line, while she held the ring. "Everyone take a look, this ring has no opening." After checking the rings for everyone, Meng Chuyuan began his performance. Lu Jinsen frowned and asked, "Do you really know magic?" "Don't talk," Meng Chuyuan patted his hand and said, "Hold on tight, don't let go." Confirming that he had really tightened his grip, Meng Chuyuan approached the rope with the ring in her hand. In no time, the ring in her hand was worn on the rope. Lu Jinsen, who was closest and had watched the entire process, was also confused and had no idea what she had done. The villagers sitting in the front row were all amazed. The previous second happened too quickly, and no one could see clearly how Meng Chuyuan had just operated. Seeing that everyone's curiosity was quite strong, Meng Chuyuan also randomly invited a villager to come on stage to replace Lu Jinsen in grabbing the rope, and then she operated it again. There was a round of applause from the audience. The audience in the live broadcast room was also boiling. "This sister.in.law really has something, help. This is too cool, isn't it? I also want to learn, why don't you consider opening a class, sister.in.law? Meng Jia, take me as an apprentice, ball now, what is the origin of Lu Jinsen's elder brother? He married such a strange woman on the day of the live broadcast." Meng Chuyuan, as a layman, participated in a variety show but made an amazing appearance on the hot search list, and the popularity continued to rise, directly overshadowing the negative news. #amazed by Meng Chuyuan's beauty to the point of #explosion #Meng Chuyuan's appearance is too stunning Lu Qingye, who was far away abroad, had just woken up from his sleep. In the morning, his assistant came over to pick him up from the company and couldn't help but report to him, "Mr. Lu, my wife has been trending." Upon hearing the words, "Madam," Lu Qingye was stunned for a moment. After a while, he slowly lifted his eyes and remained capricious, saying, "What's wrong with her? She replaced you and went to the program with your brother." Lu Qingye. He remembers that Lu Jinsen did mention the program before, when he was busy signing documents and casually said he would accompany him when he had time. "I didn't expect that kid to take his word seriously." However, Meng Chuyuan took his place in this matter, which surprised him quite a bit. Lu Qingye asked, "Did she agree to participate?" "It started broadcasting yesterday." On the way to the company at this moment, Lu Qingye glanced at his phone and inexplicably searched for the program. When he opened the video, the first day of recording had already ended and only the live playback could be watched. Lu Qingye clicked on the live broadcast replay and soon saw the submission of his phone. Everyone is calling important people, only Meng Chuyuan is flipping through her bag and looking for her phone. Lu Qingye looked at the barrage left by the audience at the time and was curious why Meng Chuyuan didn't call her husband. Upon seeing this scene, Lu Qingye frowned and a hint of doubt flashed in his eyes. He paused the live broadcast replay and instinctively withdrew to check his phone call record, which did not contain Meng Chuyuan's phone number. After reading the call history, Lu Qingye opened WeChat again and did not find Meng Chuyuan's dialog box among the many unread messages. Isn't it good to not interfere with each other? So now, what exactly is he looking forward to? Lu Qingye. Come out and make a bubble, continue to earn money to support the family. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Getting cursed even in the morning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Getting cursed even in the morning. The next morning, before the sky fully opened, the guests woke up one by one. Last night, the production team released the latest notice that breakfast for today is available at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the quantity is limited, first come, first served. In order to avoid hunger and have a hot breakfast, it is necessary to wake up early. However, on the way to collect breakfast with everyone drowsy-eyed, Meng Chuyuan had already arrived. Watching the other two groups of guests yawning incessantly and going out in pajamas, while Meng Chuyuan appeared neatly dressed and full of energy, the audience was stunned. Damn it, when did she come out of the adobe house? Did you wake up early and put on makeup? It doesn't look like you just woke up. What does she mean? She stayed up all night just to show off herself and let others accompany her. What a scheming woman. There's really nothing else to do besides showing off as a vase, right? Isn't it shameful to see someone without makeup and afraid to remove it? I'm sorry, I'm Yen Go. Even if she wears makeup, I still love her. Yen Go +1, was confused by her beauty yesterday, and it's the same today. Meng Chuyuan has a bad habit, which leads to a decrease in sleep quality in a new environment, making it difficult to fall asleep and easy to wake up. She observed through the sky in the room and estimated that it was almost dawn, so she got up early from bed and walked around the field path outside. She happened to pass by the material station arranged by the production team, thinking that since she had arrived here, she would come in and take a look. What kind of breakfast does it require to wake up early? Meng Chuyuan stepped into the room and walked towards the table, stretching out his hands to open the covers one by one. Porridge, mantou, boiled eggs and sweet potatoes. After looking at all the food on the table, Meng Chuyuan showed an indescribable expression. Is it necessary to grab this kind of breakfast? Meng Jia, what expression is this? Don't you like this simple breakfast? I didn't see any delicacies, so I was disappointed. This is the part of the production team. How can a vase eat these things? Meng Jia is looking for water. Why do flowers lack water? Hurry up and kowtow to the vase lady to admit your mistake. What breakfast have you prepared? I think having breakfast like this in rural areas is already very abundant. The breakfast provided by the program team can be freely paired, but the program team only prepared the amount for 2 to 3 people to eat, and the allocation depends on the choices of the 3 groups of guests. Meng Chuyuan didn't touch anything on the table and silently closed the lid after reading it. Immediately after, Liao Jiaka and Qi Shen appeared. The two of them happened to meet on their way and came together. They both thought they were the first to go out and get breakfast, but as soon as they entered the house, they saw Meng Chuyuan. The 3 of them met, and the air seemed to have solidified. Especially when I saw Meng Chuyuan wearing a light blue denim jacket, black pants with small white shoes, exuding a refreshing feeling both inside and outside, while they were unkempt and wearing pajamas. This obvious comparison, with a huge difference, is really hard to overlook. After a while, Liao Jiaka smiled slightly and gently broke the deadlock, saying, "Good morning, are you also here to pick up breakfast?" Meng Chuyuan responded lightly and said, "Just take a look." She was just casually looking around, seemingly uninterested in the breakfast prepared by the production team. However, out of courtesy, Detective Qi asked, "Sister Meng, won't you pick?" After all, Meng Chuyuan was the first one to come in, and everything had to be done on a first-come, first-served basis. If she didn't pick the right one, he and Liao Jia wouldn't dare to move either. Meng Chuyuan stepped back to make room for them. She raised her eyebrows and gestured, "You can choose." Forgive me for not understanding Meng's operation. I'm afraid it's not to gain favor. This woman is really noble. Why does she treat Coco and Detective Qi like this? Do she think she is superior? Help. She got up so early, wouldn't she just pretend to be a good person? This is not called pretending, she should have acted in her true colors. After all, her face changed after watching it just now, obviously she didn't want it anymore. Qi Detective and Liao Jiaka exchanged a glance, seeming somewhat indecisive. After hesitating for a while, Chi detective slowly spoke up, then I won't be polite with Sister Coco. Meng Chuyuan. You're welcome. Chi Shen stepped forward and lifted the 4 lids, his face slightly changing. He was stunned for a moment, then turned to Liao Jiaka for help in his eyes. As if saying, how should this food be divided? A pot of porridge can hold 4 small bowls visually, 3 eggs and 3 mantu each, and 2 fisted sweet potatoes. Liao Jiaka glanced and there was about 5 seconds of silence in between, not knowing what he was thinking. After a while, Liao Jiaka said, I want a bowl of congee and a mantu. Upon hearing this, Chi Sun looked up at her and asked in astonishment, Coco, do you want to eat enough of this? Liao Jiaka took a bowl of porridge and smiled back, that's enough. Yen Yen has a small appetite. It's you. You are still growing. You need to eat more. Seeing that the amount of breakfast was not enough, Liao Jiaka did not plan to eat it. If she was not afraid of her sister's hunger, she might not want mantu. Chi Shen also felt that it didn't matter. As a person who controls his diet in daily life, he thought it was okay to eat less of this meal. He was mainly worried that his sister wouldn't have enough to eat. He filled 2 bowls of porridge, then took a sweet potato and an egg. However, in the end, Chi Shen put the egg in Liao Jiaka's food box and said, Coco, this egg belongs to me and I'll give it to you. Chi Sun probably knew that she had received it for her sister, so he gave his eggs to Liao Jiaka. No, I can't take this egg. When Chi Shen watched her take out the egg and prepare to hand it to him, he instinctively avoided it. Coco, you can take it. Brother Chi is also great, isn't he? Envy Chi Yen for having such a sensible younger brother. Detective Chi is really cultured, details cannot deceive people, he really thinks for others everywhere. Dare I ask if I can have such an excellent man? Woo 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 woo, I have decided. Chasing stars will only pursue Chi detective. Watching them pushing back and forth over an egg, Meng Chuyuan found it really boring. Meng Chuyuan's mouth twitched and couldn't help but remind, what are the people coming and going for? Isn't there still something on the table? She walked over and picked up the 2 remaining eggs on the table, putting them into their food boxes. Before they could react, Meng Chuyuan raised his eyebrows and gestured, go back, otherwise everything that should be cold will be cold soon. Chi Shen. Liao Jiaka. Meng Chuyuan's sudden move did indeed confuse both of them. What kind of person is she pretending to be, although? Meng just said what I wanted to say, I knock, Sister Meng is just my mouthpiece, it's okay to take more eggs. Anyway, there are mantu and sweet potatoes, enough for Lu Jinsen and his family to eat. It can only be said that Chi Shen and Coco are both kind-hearted people, both humbling each other. Handle it properly. This wave I'm standing on Meng Jieha, Meng Chuyuan. Sister, if I don't eat, why are you so humble? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Lack of team awareness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Lack of team awareness. After receiving breakfast, everyone returned to their residence. Due to Meng Chuyuan and his adobe houses being far away, they had to spend more time on the way back than others. Lu Jinsen woke up in a daze and went to the bathroom. He had a brief encounter with the morning breeze, and the sudden coolness made him wake up a lot. He came back and passed by Meng Chuyuan's room, only to realize that the door was open. Lu Jinsen slowed down, frowned slightly, and his gaze glanced in intentionally or unintentionally, only to find that Meng Chuyuan was not in the room. Early in the morning, where did this woman go? Did you go to pick up breakfast? Lu Jinsen suddenly remembered something like this and naturally assumed that she had woken up early and gone to the material station. He went back to his room and changed his clothes. After washing up, he sat quietly in the yard. What is the young master doing? Are you planning to just sit here and enjoy the cool breeze? Laughing to death, he looks like an empty nest old man. I don't understand why the production team gave him so many shots, really annoying. There is no fast-forward function in the live broadcast room, seeing Meng Chuyuan's figure appear, Lu Jinsen's eyes flashed with an imperceptible joy. For a moment, Lu Jinsen almost got up and went to the door to greet Meng Chuyuan, but this small gesture was not captured. It was his eager eyes that stood out. Meng Chuyuan walked slowly into the courtyard with his hands behind his back. Lu Jinsen looked up and his gaze fell on her. "Are you back?" As Meng Chuyuan approached and prepared to pass him, Lu Jinsen finally saw the hand behind her. Empty-handed. "There's nothing." Lu Jinsen frowned and said coldly, "Where's breakfast?" Meng Chuyuan turned around to look at him and asked, "What breakfast?" The next second, Lu Jinsen's expression couldn't hold. Was he wrong from the beginning and shouldn't have held on to hope for her? Meng Chuyuan stared at him, seeming to see disappointment in his eyes. She chuckled lightly and said, "Do you think I'll bring you breakfast?" Lu Jinsen didn't respond, his face turned extremely pale, as if someone owed him several million. "Ha ha ha, my attention was all on dividing eggs just now, and now I realize that Sister Meng really didn't take anything. Meng Jia is Meng Jia, don't even take anything that's convenient. XSWL, this group has no division of labor, no discussion, and no tacit understanding. It's better to get out of here as soon as possible, don't record it." Suddenly realizing that Coco couldn't bear to wake up his sister, he went on his own. So did Brother Chi, who always goes out quietly. "It's really good." No, she didn't even help bring it back when she went. Are these two at odds? The vase lady doesn't have a team spirit, so helping the young master with it won't do much. At 8:30 in the morning, 3 groups of guests gathered in Zazhuang. Their task today is to help the villagers pick dates. The specific amount of kilograms to be collected depends on the total weight of their group. Therefore, before picking, guests need to weigh themselves and register before picking. As long as they complete today's task, they can receive labor coins and then exchange ingredients with the program team. Some guests have started to lose their composure when they heard about publicly measuring their weight on the show. The director asked the staff to take out the scale and place it right in front of them. Who comes first? No one answered the conversation and no one was willing to step forward, which made the audience in the live broadcast room extremely anxious. Just one scale. As for what? Just go up and it's done. What's so scary about it? After all, as a public figure, I understand that I don't want to expose my weight, but since I'm here to participate in the program, can I feel the pain faster? Or will the production team play ha ha ha? Last season we measured our height, this season we measured our weight. What will we measure next time? One by one, they have lost weight and their thighs are not as thick as my arms, so they need to be called inferiority complex. Weight scale is like a magic mirror for female celebrities, who dares to go up. If the woman is unwilling, wouldn't there be a man taking the lead? Meng Chuyuan raised her hand to signal, "I'll come first," as she saw the other people with serious expressions and didn't respond to the director. Upon hearing this, everyone turned their heads to look at Meng Chuyuan. Meng Chuyuan walked forward calmly and stood on the electronic scale, which showed her weight to be 44 kilograms. Sleeping slot. Beauty, this is too thin, isn't it? See how happy my sister Meng is, this is the benchmark for women in the new era, stop praising her, okay? She's not in the entertainment industry, who cares about her weight? What can she be proud of if she dares to bear the brunt and is not confident in her weight? Ah, right. They are not only confident in their weight, but also in their beauty. Are you jealous? Meng Chuyuan has all submitted petitions, and the others can only obediently follow suit, submitting petitions one by one and asking the director to register. At last, the director's statistics are 114 kilograms for the uncle and sister.in.law group, 97 kilograms for the sisters group, and 117 kilograms for the sister and brother group. After determining the amount of dates to be harvested today, the director invited local growers to come and teach everyone how to pick. The local Zazhuang has always been manually harvested, so it can be quite time-consuming and laborious. The Zhuang supervisor assigned each group with thin bamboo poles and plastic paper for picking dates, and then spoke non-standard Mandarin, demonstrating how to operate it carefully. The supervisor first lays a large area of plastic paper flat in the mud, maintaining an appropriate distance from the tree trunk. Then, he picks up a bamboo pole and lightly taps it, causing all the dates on the tree to fall off. Then, he slowly gathers the plastic paper and pours the red dates into the fruit basket. After reading it, Qishan suddenly felt eager to give it a try. It seems quite simple. The butler raised his hand and said kindly, "Come, give it a try." Qishan seemed interested in making dates. He laid out the plastic paper alone and, under the guidance of the supervisor, took the first shot. The first attempt was not ideal, and the number of dates dropped was very small. He scratched his head and awkwardly smiled, "It doesn't seem too easy." "My mom hahaha, did Chi detective's younger brother grow up eating cute food?" "Hahaha, little brother is fine, this must be the fault of the pole, not yours, great shot, don't shoot again next time, I can see my younger brother scratching his head and covering his head 10 times, Qishan, come on. You're already great, give you a thumbs up." The butler said, "You can use a little more force. If you pat hard, the dates will fall off more." He nodded and said, "I'll look for my feelings again." Qishan took 2 more shots of the jujube tree just now, and now the jujube is falling more than before. He quickly found the state. At the same time, Liao Jiaka and his sister also started to beat dates, but this group is all girls, and they are somewhat at a disadvantage in terms of strength. Both groups are working hard to finish the task as soon as possible, but on the other end, there are 2 people swaying in front of the camera and doing nothing. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Completion upon construction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Completion upon construction. What are these 2 people doing? Are they shopping? They've come here. I really put the word vase into full play. It's like this in front of the camera, I don't even know what kind of laziness it is after the camera, right? What does the production team eat? Can people like this tolerate it? Just as Qishan was practicing jujubes, Meng Chuyuan and Lu Jinsen whispered for a while everyone was not paying attention. Meng Chuyuan tilted his body and leaned towards Lu Jinsen, whispering to him, "Are you interested in playing a game?" Game. Upon hearing this, Lu Jinsen glanced at her in confusion. When has it been? How did she say things like playing games? Lu Jinsen didn't want to talk to her and quickly shifted his gaze. Meng Chuyuan didn't give up and leaned in again, saying, "How about playing a game and losing to work? It's boring." He had a disdainful expression on his face. Meng Chuyuan raised his eyebrows and deliberately mocked, "Are you afraid to play with me?" Perhaps unwilling to be underestimated, Lu Jinsen instinctively blurted out, "What are you playing with?" "Scissor stone cloth." They played a decisive game, with Meng Chuyuan punching and him using scissors. In the end, Meng Chuyuan easily defeated Lu Jinsen. "NB hahaha, you still play like this, are you not planning to eat at noon? These 2 old sicks don't work, let's play with stone, scissors, and cloth here. I'm also satisfied. Someone here, is there anyone in charge?" Meng Chuyuan withdrew his fist and handed the bamboo pole to Lu Jinsen in a blink of an eye. The teasing from the winner said, "Young man, go ahead and work." Lu Jinsen didn't even realize what had just happened. Why did he lose? He took the bamboo pole given by Meng Chuyuan with a bewildered expression, silently walked to the jujube tree, and began to make arrangements. Just now, while the supervisor was teaching, Lu Jinsen looked carefully beside him, and he also felt that there was no difficulty. Lu Jinsen is not like Qishan who cannot let go. When he lifted the bamboo pole, his expression were all exerting force, causing the dates to fall off with a clatter. Although his movements may seem a bit too aggressive, the effect is very good and orderly. Lu Jinsen used his own method to beat dates, which was faster than the other two groups. Although he had the upper hand in speed, his swing was not well controlled, causing the dates on the tree to not fall on the flat plastic paper and even hit him. At this moment, the sun is rising and it won't be too hot, but it's glaring. Detective, take a break and let me do it. Chi Yan kept slowly harvesting the dates from behind, because he didn't let her do the physical work of picking dates. At first, she thought it was good to harvest the dates at the back, but when she saw Lu Jinsen moving so quickly, she suddenly felt the difference. Who doesn't want to win? Chi Sun. It's okay, sister. I'll speed up and we can weigh the dates soon. When you need help, let me know. I'm a bit worried about Chi Shun's hand, he was lifting the pole from start to finish. Let my sister help you. It's too hard to work alone. I feel a little sorry for you, Detective Chi, don't panic and whimper. They definitely won't win. In my heart, you will always be the first. In fact, Liao Jiaka and Liao Jiayan are the most pitiful. Although they had the least amount of data completed in the three groups, there were no boys in their group. From the beginning, 2 people were working, and the progress still couldn't catch up with the Qi investigation group. Looking at a row of untreated jujube trees, Liao Jiayan looked like a deflated ball and said, "My hands are so sore." Upon hearing this, Liao Jiaka looked up and saw his younger sister stop. With one hand rubbing the other arm, she walked over and said, "Yan Yan, please find a cool place to rest for a while. I'll handle this place." Liao Jiayan naturally wanted to do this, but as soon as she thought about recording the program and working with her sister to complete it, she hesitated and said, "Sister, are you okay?" Liao Jiaka. "I can do it." She is also tired and wants to rest, but she can't. They didn't have many dates to start with, so they stopped at the same time, making it even more difficult to complete later. "Then when I rest well, I'll come back and play with you." Coco must be a qualified older sister. She always cares about her younger sister, afraid that she will suffer and be burdened. If Su Yingdi were watching a live broadcast, how much he would feel for Coco. The rules set by the production team are fundamentally unfair. This group is all girls, how can we compare with the other 2 groups? We should start by giving them some weight loss. I love these sisters, and I want to go into the screen to help them. Director, I advise you to be a person and let go of the 2 beautiful women facing the dazzling sun. Lu Jinsen worked diligently, while Meng Chuyuan stood by the fruit basket, standing under the shade of a tree, nibbling on sweet dates, while supervising Lu Jinsen to harvest them. Meng Chuyuan took a bite of the crispy jujube and smashed his mouth, saying, "This jujube is good, it's really sweet." What is Sister Meng doing? Even if she doesn't work, why did she still eat it? Damn it, Lu Jinsen is beating dates in front, and she's following behind to eat. Is this something that humans can do? Can this sister-in-law learn from the sisters next door? Can you please help me at least? Forget it, Coco and Sister Chi's understanding is something she can't learn. Lu Jinsen casually turned his head and saw Meng Chuyuan eating dates, causing his face to darken. He didn't have breakfast and is still working hard under the scorching sun. Even if she doesn't help, she's still willing to eat later. Seeing her being so idle, Lu Jinsen felt very unbalanced in his heart. He was using a bamboo pole to beat dates to vent his frustration, but he exerted too much force and the fruit fell out of nowhere, with one of the dates hitting his forehead. I don't know where it flew out, it hurt quite a bit when it hit him. Lu Jinsen reached out to cover his forehead and rubbed it, and at this moment, his anger was already burning in his heart. He angrily threw the bamboo pole on the ground and turned around to leave. The bamboo pole shook in front of Meng Chuyuan and fell to the ground. She looked up and found that Lu Jinsen was about to leave. She asked Lu Jinsen, "Where are you going?" Lu Jinsen said angrily, "You have to take care of it." "Why?" "I'm willing to gamble but I won't give up." Meng Chuyuan knew he was going to give up. Of course, if he really leaves, she won't stop him either. Anyway, participating in variety shows is just fun for Meng Chuyuan. As for the consequences of not completing the task, Meng Chuyuan doesn't need to consider these at all, but Lu Jinsen is different. This is already a part of his career, and if he messes up, the company may even terminate his contract. Upon hearing this, Lu Jinsen suddenly stopped and hesitated for less than 3 seconds. He turned around, bent down, picked up the bamboo pole on the ground, and continued to beat dates. Am I right? Lu Jinsen turned around and was willing to pick up the bamboo pole and continue working. When did Lu Jinsen become so obedient, laughing to death? Didn't you get very angry just now? Ha ha ha, this guy turned around like a different person. No matter how big your temper is, you're still obedient in front of Sister Meng. Haha. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Winning the first controversy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Winning the first controversy. Lu Jinsen turned his head to look at Meng Chuyuan and said expressionlessly, "Can you stop eating? It won't be enough to weigh it later. What's the big deal? If not, you can take a few more photos." Lu Jinsen. Meng Chuyuan saw that he had been busy for a while, but he had exerted too much force in the front, and now his efficiency is getting worse and worse. She finished nibbling on the last jujube and couldn't bear to watch anymore. She rubbed her hands, took the bamboo pole, and prepared to go to battle in person. At this moment, the plumber arrived at their side and saw that Meng Chuyuan's pole had not yet been swung out. He enthusiastically stepped forward to guide. The bamboo pole can be tilted slightly. So. Meng Chuyuan adjusted the downward tilt angle. No, it's too low to reach the top jujube. The plumber directly adjusted the bamboo pole to the appropriate position for her, but Meng Chuyuan silently let go of it at some point and stood back with great understanding. Because it's really too crowded for 2 people to stand together. The butler had no choice but to continue holding the bamboo pole and carefully say to her, "Just set the pole up like this, and then knock it down." Meng Chuyuan stood by the side all the way, watching the butler knock down the dates on the tree. The process was fast, accurate, and ruthless, and she blinked her eyes before it ended. "You operated too quickly just now, I didn't see it clearly." "It's okay, I'll try again to show you." The butler was a kind-hearted person, demonstrating once with his mouth, but his movements didn't stop. He patted several jujube trees in a row and was talking incessantly with Meng Chuyuan. The number of people in the live broadcast suddenly soared, as if they were all here to watch Meng Chuyuan work, but as they looked down, the audience noticed something was wrong. "Why didn't you learn just now?" At this point, you would humbly seek advice. How do I feel like she's not asking for advice? There's no such thing as seeking advice. Just standing without moving. Can you learn it by looking with your eyes? What does it mean? The plumber became her free worker, right? Isn't this considered a foul? She even kicked the date at her feet. She is playing a very new kind of rascal. 666. I finally understood that the plumber's date was for their group. However, this was not Meng Chuyuan's idea at the time. She just watched the butler come over to teach enthusiastically, and she always had to give face to her elders. Who knew that the butler's enthusiasm had gone too far, grabbing a row of jujube trees and clapping them repeatedly, causing Meng Chuyuan to have no chance of getting started. Lu Jinsen looked bewildered beside him, but in the blink of an eye, he saw the bright red dates under the tree, and his eyes lit up instantly. However, Meng Chuyuan also participated in jujube making in the end, and the overall effect was good. The butler nodded in satisfaction after seeing it. 2 hours later, Meng Chuyuan and his team were the first to put the dates into the fruit basket and carried them to be weighed. The final weight weighed 6.3 kilograms more than their original weight. As they were the first to complete the task, they were able to earn 45 labor coins, and an additional 5 labor coins were awarded for overweight completion. What's going on? Is the production team blind? The butler just helped them. Why do they even receive extra labor coins? Can you win even by playing tricks? Is this fair to the other two groups? XSWL, what's wrong with the way they played tricks and won? Didn't you see that their group has an extra 6.3 kilograms? This extra quantity can be considered as the plumbers, and they have won well deserved, right? Speaking for Lu Jinsen's team earlier, are you the navy they bought? Playing tricks means playing tricks. What's there to wash? Their speed is indeed decent, let's just take first place, but isn't the extra reward too much? Excuse me, did you guys take it seriously just now? It's not that Meng was exploiting loopholes, the problem lies with the plumber, and the director didn't call it a foul. It's really a matter of eating carrots and not worrying too much. Watching Meng Chuyuan and Lu Jinsen have already received labor coins, the other two groups are a bit panicked. Everyone is chasing after each other, and within half an hour, both groups have also completed this task. Qi Shen and Qi Yan received 39 labor coins, but it's a pity for Liao Jiaka's group. The two girls finished third in this task, with only 30 labor coins. With the popularity of live variety shows, a large number of related terms are on the hot search list. Hashtag Lu Jinsen's team won first place, causing controversy. Hashtag Lu Jinsen and his sister. Law do not follow the game rules. Hashtag Liao Jiaqizuo unfortunately suffered a disastrous defeat in a variety show mission. Hashtag feeling sorry for the hands of Liao Jiaka and Qi Sun. Hashtag many netizens were attracted by the headlines on hot searches and came to the live broadcast room to watch the program. Next comes the process of exchanging labor coins for food. Each type of food has only one serving, and this rule requires them to use the labor coins they just obtained to obtain the desired ingredients through bidding. The starting price for meat is 2 labor coins, and the starting price for vegetables is 1 labor coin. The higher the price, the better. Firstly, the program team revealed today's menu to the guests. Meat includes chicken breast, beef, fish, roasted duck, and pork ribs. Vegetarianism includes Chinese cabbage, lotus root, pumpkin, okra, tofu, corn, yam. Before starting the auction, the director deliberately left some time for the guests to discuss within the group. Qi Sun looked at his sister and gently asked, "Sister, what do you want to eat?" Qi Yan thought for a moment and said, "Let's take a fish, it's safer. There shouldn't be much competition, and then we'll have another small cabbage. If there are any coins later, you can take something else." On the other hand, Liao Jiaka and Liao Jiayan are also discussing countermeasures. "Sister, I want to eat fish." Liao Jiaka nodded approvingly and said without hesitation, "Okay, let's take pictures of the fish later." "Wow, fish is so popular at the moment. I cried and fainted in the bathroom because I love eating beef. Why do I choose fish? Isn't beef fragrant? Everyone wants fish. Haha." Qizhen's younger brother is rushing. "Joking, how could my Coco not get what she wants? She's a lucky goddess." Sigh. "Something's wrong with me, I envy that fish." At this moment, Lu Jinsen and Meng Chuyuan were selectively silent, without discussion or countermeasures, and even without a single eye contact. 3 minutes later, the gong rang and the first round of bidding for ingredients officially began. Director. First of all, the ingredients are bidding for the first item. Chicken breast, starting at 2 labor coins. Now we are starting to bid. Is there anything else we need to bid on? All the guests present remained silent, seemingly uninterested in chicken breasts. Just as the director asked for the second time, Qi Shen suddenly felt a little tempted and said, "Sister, do we need it?" Qi Yan pursed her lips and didn't speak, but she was also hesitating. Liao Jiaka's group of labor coins was originally the lowest in the entire venue. At this stage, she became more cautious and dared not bid the price first. After thinking for a while, Qi Shen still wanted to be conservative. "Sister, why don't we shout first? Anyway, nobody shouts now." She nodded and said, "Then give it a try and see if anyone wants it. If not, let's take it." After discussing with the director, Qi Shen shouted, 3 labor coins. "Okay, 3 labor coins, do you still have anything to ask for? 3 labor coins at a time. When the director shouted for the 3rd time, the other 2 groups still didn't move, and the chicken breast was directly taken by Chi Sun's group. Deal. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Inevitability. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Inevitability. Chi Sun and his team successfully obtained a portion of chicken breast, and there was basically no pressure on them to take all the meat and vegetables behind it. Even if they couldn't get them, it would be fine. The second bidding for beef follows the same bidding process, and all 3 groups participate in the bidding process. After Meng Chuyuan finished bidding for the last time, the other 2 groups did not follow suit anymore. After all, their labor coins were limited, and it didn't seem cost-effective to compete for 1 beef with 7 labor coins. Finally, Meng Chuyuan obtained a portion of beef for 7 labor coins. After handing over the beef to Meng Chuyuan's group, the production team quickly brought the fish up, and everyone raised their heads in unison, feeling the pressure of competition through the screen. Fish. It's finally on the auction table. Ball, this fish must go to Coco's group. They currently have nothing. Chi Detective also wants fish. I like both him and Coco. It's really not possible to cut the fish in half. I really don't know how to choose. Help, I feel like this auction will be very intense. When the director announced the start of the 3rd round of bidding, Liao Jiaka was the first to bid, 5 labor coins. Chi Shen. 6 labor coins. It was Meng Chuyuan's turn and she shouted without hesitation, 12 labor coins. As soon as she spoke, the whole audience fell silent, not expecting her to bid so harshly. Sleeping slot. 12 labor coins, is that so ruthless? So much food, does she have to grab the fish, intentionally? Did she just eavesdrop on the conversation between the other 2 groups, otherwise why did she start to grab fish? Vase, why don't you drink more water? What kind of fish should you eat? Hurry up and give it to someone else. The director was stunned for a while before coming to his senses, holding a small horn and reminding, do you still have 12 labor coins to ask for? Liao Jiaka glanced at his younger sister and promised to take a fish for her, so she didn't want to give up at this moment. Just as she was about to raise a sign and bid a price, Liao Jiayan suddenly pressed her wrist and said somewhat disappointed, forget it, 12 coins is too much. Liao Jiaka was a bit reluctant and said, give it a try, what if we can capture it? Can't you see that she deliberately shouted out loud? It means she was determined to do it. Liao Jiaka. On the other hand, Qi Yan also looked at the auction rationally. She reminded Qi Shen, detective, let's stop bidding and leave some coins for the vegetables. Qi Shen nodded in agreement and said, okay, I'll listen to you. After shouting 12 coins 3 times, the director struck the hammer and said, deal. What the hell is the plane? Is it so easy for her to get the fish, isn't that right? Woo-woo, lucky goddess was defeated unexpectedly. With Meng, this unlucky woman, it's probably difficult for Coco to make any further luck. I'm so angry, why doesn't anyone dare to argue with her? How can we argue about this? The price is so fierce, I just don't want to leave room for others. The bidding activity ended, and Meng Chuyuan's group finally received 2 meat and 3 vegetables. In addition to beef and fish, they also received lotus roots, okra, and corn. Chi Sun's team received chicken breast, pork ribs, and small cabbage, and the remaining ingredients were all from Liao Jiaka's team. The director announced that today's task had come to an end, and everyone was about to go back to cook with ingredients when suddenly Liao Jiaka walked up to Meng Chuyuan. Liao Jiaka spoke with some embarrassment, Teacher Meng, can I exchange roasted duck for fish with you? My sister wants to eat fish. Meng Chuyuan raised his eyebrows and said, I can trade with you for anything except fish. Look, is this what people say? Teacher Meng. Is she suitable, Coco, hurry up, don't beg her. Roast duck is also very delicious, there's no need to exchange it with her, Dees what? Who cares about her fish? Coco, run away and don't get close to her, bad luck. Liao Jia saw that she didn't have any intention of letting go, so she knew the difficulty and retreated, sorry to bother you. In the bidding just now, Lu Jinsen stood next to Meng Chuyuan and did not participate at all, let alone know what Meng Chuyuan would do in the next second. Just that fish is too eye-catching, it's really hard to ignore. Lu Jinsen couldn't understand why Meng Chuyuan was filming that fish and why he didn't want to exchange it with others. On the way back, Lu Jinsen couldn't help but ask, do you like to eat fish? Meng Chuyuan turned his head and gave him a calm glance, saying, it's okay, I don't feel like eating today. Lu Jinsen. Don't want to eat. So why did she take it back? She has a lot of coins, right? She would rather waste it than give others a chance. Is there anything seriously wrong with her brain? She doesn't want to eat. Why didn't she give the fish to Coco just now? I really want to punch her. What did TM say? Not only did the audience not understand, but Lu Jinsen also couldn't see through her behavior and didn't even know what to say about her. Meng Chuyuan seemed to be in a good mood, always bouncing along the way and humming a little tune. Suddenly, Meng Chuyuan turned into another intersection. Seeing this, Lu Jinsen quickly called out to her, that's not the way back. Who said I'm going back? Meng Chuyuan turned around and glanced at him, but his footsteps didn't stop. Just as Lu Jinsen was about to ask where she was going, he was indirectly interrupted by Meng Chuyuan's voice and said, Grandma Zhang, I'm coming to see you. There is a family at the turning point here, which can be considered as their neighbors. Yesterday, Meng Chuyuan and his family just moved into a adobe house and borrowed something from Grandma Zhang. Grandma Zhang has inconvenient legs and feet. She relies on crutches all year round and likes to sit alone on chairs in the small courtyard, daydreaming. Seeing Meng Chuyuan appear, Grandma Zhang showed a kind smile and even wanted to stand up from the chair to greet her. Just sit down and I'll come by to see you. I'll be back in a moment. Lu Jinsen stood at the door, hesitated for a while, and finally lifted his foot to follow in. When he saw Grandma Zhang, he politely greeted her and said, Hello Grandma Zhang. Grandma Zhang blurted, Okay. Yesterday we brought some meat and eggs from you, and today we'll give you a bass, Meng Chuyuan said as he picked up the fish in his hand and placed it on the small wooden table. Meng Chuyuan said, This fish is still fresh. I'll put it on the table for you. Grandma Zhang was moved to a point where she was at a loss. She reached out her wrinkled hand to grab Meng Chuyuan and said, Thank you. We should be the ones who thank you. We caused you trouble yesterday. Seeing this scene, the audience in the live broadcast room couldn't calm down anymore, and fans ran out to brush the barrage. I'm sorry, I blamed Sister Meng wrongly. I thought she made a blind photo with too much money, but it turned out that the fish was for Grandma Zhang. I apologize for my extreme language just now. My goodness, I suddenly feel like crying. What's going on? I miss my grandmother because she has been away from home due to the pandemic, so I really want to cry. Meng Jia still has a bit of kindness in her body. I apologize for my reckless behavior just now. Lu Jinsen was also very polite, suddenly feeling like he had just lost his handsome appearance. End of this chapter.